It's Jords from Supercoach Take, and today we have the big team reveal. So really exciting, can't wait to speak about it. I think it's pretty much set. The only thing that might change is rookies and possibly one or two things. But for the most part, this will be the team. And so the plan for 2020, so I'll do weekly videos, podcasts, and we'll also do the Supercoach Take Power Rankings. I think that'll happen every 2 weeks. And yeah, should be good. So feel free to subscribe to the channel, plenty of content. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy it. And we get straight to the team. So at D1, I have James Sicily. I'm a big fan of Sicily. We saw the role in March 2, where he racked up plenty of ball in defence, and that's exactly what we wanted to see. Be less accountable and more freedom playing in that defence to take intercepts. So that's why I like James Sicily, and he's my D1. Did have a sore heel, I think, a few weeks ago, but looks fine, played through the Origin in March 2. So I'm very happy with Sicily. At D2, going a bit shallow in defence, we have Sam Doherty. I think the upside for Doherty at his price point is too good to pass up. Even though he's coming off 2 ACLs, I'm a little worried. But for 430k, he's playing off halfback. He's not inside mid or busting his gut on a wing. I'm sure he does plenty of running off halfback, but it's a bit less demanding than other roles. So we like that, and yep, Doherty will be D2. Now D3, this is an interesting one, and it's one that just kind of fits the structure. We have Jack Lukosius. I think he was picked 2 or 3 in the 2018 draft, super draft, as I like to bring up. And from what I saw and what I've read, he's playing similar role to Sicily, the intercept role. And I think he's taken a few kickouts. And Sicily should also take a few more kickouts this year as well. So I'd be happy if he makes 100k, to be honest. I know that's not the best return, but I'm not convinced on rookies, and I'll speak more about that as I go through the team. So yeah, perfect role. Will he get thrown forward sometimes? Maybe a little bit. But he's 270k, it's fine. And we like that. His DPP is really nice as well. So he can sit there at D3, hopefully make a bit of money. And his points per minute when playing in defence, which was 7 out of the 8 quarters in the March series, was really good. I can't remember exactly, but it was impressive. So Lukosius is there, and yeah, happy with Lukosius. I think his ownership's about 7%, so it did jump a little bit in the March series. But yeah, he's our D3. D4, Dylan Robertson. So yeah, as you can see, it's pretty expensive. I mean, these guys are pretty much mid prices, but you treat them as rookies. So Dylan Robertson looks fine to me. Everything I read on him in the preseason, it's like he never left sort of thing. So I like Robertson. He's on the heart meds at the moment, which regulates his heart rate. So hopefully he doesn't have any slip-ups. Fingers crossed. But yeah, maybe a little bit rusty in March too. And the Saints, I'm not expecting him to be a keeper. The Saints have a lot of new players in defence, like Long and Hunter Clark, who will be taking a few points in that defence. But I still think Robertson can score fine. It's not beyond him to go 75. He should go higher than that. So I like him, on-field option, and happy with him at D4. Now D5 and D6, we'll do these together. So Noble and Zack Thatcher. Noble, I think he averaged 96 in this NFL, and seems to be an attacking defender. I think that's the description that I read on him. So I liked him in March. The March series did give away a few bad free kicks, but liked his game. Seemed to be around the ball a heck of a lot, and we like that. Bucks played him in the final series last year, so he's clearly got a lot of faith in him. And yeah, started on the field in the March series. Looks like he'll play. So looks like a decent option. Zack Thatcher, 190k, expensive, but takes lots of intercept marks, so we like that. And that's pretty much it. So with Hooker out for, I'm not sure, another 5 or 6 weeks, maybe he can cement his spot. And also on the bench, we have Jared Brander and Bailey Williams. I think West Coast want to persist with Brander, give him as many games as they can, play him on a wing. And Bailey Williams, I think, seems to be the favoured second ruckman for Nick Natanoy. So if he plays 40% in the ruck, he might actually be an on-field option. So we like that. Had a minor hamstring injury, but seems to be fine, trained fine, and the cupboard's pretty bare for options. The other rookie that I've missed is Tobe Watson. I'm not sure if he plays. He's one I might consider if he plays, but it would require a little bit of shuffling. But yeah, happy with these 6 in the defence, and yeah, get straight into the midfield. So the midfield, M1, no surprise, my favourite player in the league, Jack Macrae. I am a little bit worried about the Dogs mids, just because I've said it a few times, there might be a bit more point sharing with Lipinski, English, and Bailey Williams taking a bit more responsibility, as well as Marcus Bontempelli. I expect to improve a little bit. But nevertheless, Jack Macrae, unbelievable scorer, pretty much the best midfielder the past 2 years. So, love Jack Macrae and don't see him falling off. And if he does, it'll be minimal just because of the team dynamics. So, point sharing, I suppose. He might get moved a little bit, but he should play a heck of a lot in the midfield, you'd expect. So, a big fan of Macrae and happy with him at M1. M2, the reliable Lachie Neale. Saw him in the March series, played unbelievable. Says he's done a bit of work to deal with taggers this year. And I think with Lachie Neale's fixture, I feel like he's favoured towards picking him as a starting pick rather than upgrading. Because after his bye, although he has the first bye, has the ball after. And round 2 and round 3, he plays North and the Crows, and they don't have an answer for Lachie Neale. So, for that reason, love Lachie Neale as a pick. He can sit there at M2 for 22 games and captain option every now and then. So M3, I'm taking Josh Kelly. This is a risky pick, I understand that, even though he's had a pretty much flawless preseason, which is what we were looking for. The plan was if he stays fit for preseason, 34 touches in the March 2 game, very impressive. Played a bit more on a wing, but I still think he'll get enough inside time. So yeah, the plan was to pick him if he gets through preseason and has an outstanding preseason. It's looked like that's the case. I understand the risk here. He had so many soft tissue injuries over the past 2 years. Before that, he was fine. Leon Cameron was saying his groins have bothered him the past 2 years on and off. Doesn't seem to be the case this year. So we're picking Josh Kelly, and hopefully he stays fit. I think his upside is the reason why I'm picking him when comparing that against his injury risk. M4, we have Patrick Cripps. Part of me doesn't want to start Cripps this year for some reason, but just because he slows down mid-year a little bit. But yeah, the way he started last year and his high ownership, it could be bad if I don't start him. So Patrick Cripps is M4. Probably know what you'll get. Maybe anywhere between 115 and 120 probably. Just gets too many contested possessions to drop off. So happy with Cripps. At M5, y'all know how I feel about this one. It is Josh Dunkley. Huge fan of Josh Dunkley. Would have been the number 1 midfielder last year had he played a full year in the midfield. But still got pretty close to it, playing the first 5 or 6 games forward. So, got plenty of centre bounces in the March series, so not too worried at all. And, yeah, just very happy with his selection. He hasn't moved at all since November. So this team, I look at the 5 players I have, pretty happy with them. You know, Macrae, number 1 midfielder the past 2 years. Neale never misses a game. So feel safe with them, and I did consider Tom Mitchell and Temple, but unfortunately just couldn't fit him in. I committed to these players a while ago now, so more than happy to have them in. Hopefully we get Mitchell in early, and yeah, didn't go Temple because I needed to find a reason, and you know he's going to have a bloke hanging off him every week, De Boer twice before the bye. So I still think he'll handle it fine, but you know that's not the case for Macrae and Dunkley. So that's why I've missed out on him. But love the Bontempelli pick. If I had to pick a 6th, it would be Bontempelli. Now the rookies. So Rao, Green, Pickett. I think everyone will have these 3 players. Rao will score fine. There's nothing to speak about on him. Green, we think he gets named. And Pickett, anyone was speaking on the pod, he has his expectations lowered for Pickett, but I still think he'll be a passable field option, so still gets plenty of mid-time. And then the bench, so Starcevic, whatever it is, Robertson and Budaric. Got that one right. So, yeah, it looks like we've had to use DPPs in the midfield bench because options are looking pretty slim right now. So happy with these three, Starcevic and Robertson. Robertson had, very small opportunity in March 2. Looks like they took it and looks like they'll play. And yeah, Budaric, he will play round 1 it seems. So happy with that. We can move on to the rucks. At R1, Brodie Grundy. Pretty obvious one. R2, we're going to go with Naismith this year. And I've done my homework on him. I spoke about him in the pod, his injury history. It's pretty ugly. But he's been in full training. He had 2 knee surgeries over the past 2 years, but seems to be fit now. Only need him for 6 to 8 games. And he's the number 1 ruck, and he showed a lot of promise in the March series. So I'm just hoping that he can pull through. And the problem is, every time I put Gorn here in R2, I have to run a rookie somewhere else, and I'm not happy with any of the other rookie options. So for that reason, I feel like in R2 I can make some money, whereas elsewhere I don't feel good about the player I'm picking to hold his job or make money. So for that reason, we have Naismith. So yeah, understand the risk, but 250 playing ruck and looks good. So just need him. I understand things could go pear-shaped, but I do have a plan B. I'll get to that in a second. So hope for the best with Naismith. So hopefully he gets within 300k, 250k of Gorn at some point by round 7 or 8. Because that's the priority. We need to get Gorn in as soon as possible. Now to the forward line. So F1, Lockie Whitfield, sore enough, had the ankle surgery late last year, but seems fine now. So had a really good Origin game. Started slow but played well in March 2. We'll pick Lockie Whitfield, stick him at F1 and relax. Didn't have Whitfield last year early, and watching him every game was pretty much just praying for a tag or something to happen. F2, Dustin Martin. So Dustin Martin looks like he tried in the March series for a change, which can be a good sign. So got plenty of centre bounces, even though they've said they're going to play him forward a lot, which will still happen. But he's a lock for top 6, and happy to pay a little bit overs for Dustin Martin. I don't think you have to pick Dustin Martin. His defensive game is almost non-existent at times. So his tackle numbers used to be 4, I think, a couple of years ago, 4 a game, something like that. Now it's about 2 a game. So that's 8 points lost. So not expecting above 110, but somewhere in the hundreds, hopefully. Now F3, I feel like there's a lot of options where we can save money here, and the 2 options I've come up with. The first one is John Segler. This is an interesting pick. I never thought much of Segler, but I think, the fact that he signed on for Hawthorn, I think they've probably guaranteed him the ruck role. From what I've read and what I've seen, everything points towards Segler being the number 1 ruck with McAvoy down back. Things might go wrong down the track, but for now, I need him for Naismith. And I think he can actually score. So the sample he's given us, around 5 games, he's averaged in the mid-90s, and he actually had less time on ground in the March series. In his final 3 games last year, where he rucked, his time on ground would have averaged out to about 85, and in the March series, it was around the 70s. So that average could have easily been pushed up. Plays Grundy round 3, not happy about that, but we'll just cop that and move on. I actually like him a lot. He passed the eye test for me, and I think he is an injury risk, but he had the ACL, I think it was 2016, and every year since he's played more and more games. Last year he played the 18, including VFL. So I had a full preseason. I like him, I really do, and the cover could be useful during the buys and at other stages throughout the preseason. I'll pick Segler and hold the faith with him. So at F4 we have who I think will be the Coleman medalist in 2020. It's a key forward, Tom Lynch. I'm a fan of Lynch. Had a pretty terrible Origin game, but just wasn't a key forward today. And I think he'll kick a lot of goals this year. I think first time in a while he's had a full pre-season, and he's playing for probably the best team in the competition. So I think it was Shane Edwards that said, you know, we used to look for Jack, now we look for Tom. So big fan of Tom Lynch. I think we'll need to be patient with him. He might start off terribly just because of the nature of key forwards, but for 390k, during the season, if you see Tom Lynch for 390k, I think you have to consider that, especially now that he's playing for Richmond with a full pre-season. So happy to pick Tom Lynch, and yeah, picking Lynch and Segler, saving that money there, it's allowed me to pay up, you know, for Whitfield, for Martin, and all the midfielders. So that's why Lynch is there, and yeah, I'm happy with his selection. Now at F5, we have Devin Smith. In my opinion, I think you have to pick Devin Smith just because his ownership is so high. Missing out on a value pick, it really does hurt. Really does hurt your chances. So, like what I saw from Devin, it was, you know, similar Devin to 2018. You know, 20 disposals, a goal, plenty of tackles. Looks like that'll happen again this year. I think he'll finish top 6 in the forward line, and yeah, I'll pick Devin Smith. Now the rookies up forward, Taylor, Rankin, King. I'm not expecting much from any of them. You know, Taylor, North Melbourne, and Rankin, Gold Coast. Hopefully Rankin plays round 1. If he doesn't, I think they definitely want Rankin to play. But as I was going to say, these guys play in teams that will probably lose a lot of games, and they're small forwards. They're not going to score much, and they're not going to be safe every week to have on the field. But I think just because of the way rookies are this year, I think we have to field 1 or 2 of them. So I'm more than happy to only have to field 1 of them, and I think, yeah, Taylor played himself into contention for round 1. I think you almost have to pick him off the back of his March 2 game, which was really good. And also Max King, not sure, yeah, he's not going to score a whole bunch, but I feel like I don't know who else to pick. Maybe if Tobe Watson comes in, I can swing Brander forward and put Tobe Watson in defence. So that's the team. I hope you like it. Naismith is a 1. I feel like just by going to Naismith, I can fit everyone else that I pretty much want that fits in. So I'm okay with that. We need to get Segler. So we have Segler to cover if we need, and Naismith needs to get to Gawn as soon as possible. And I just hope in round 6 or 7 that Gawn, hopefully he's like 650,000. So that's all from me. Hope you liked the video, and good luck this year. And yeah, feel free to subscribe to the channel because we have plenty of stuff going on, and we'll see you soon.